Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be diving deep into engine oil, and I'm very excited to have an expert here with us.
Yes, hello.
Specifically, we're going to be focusing on some of those myths surrounding synthetic oil. We've got this awesome article here from a leading expert in fuels and lubricants.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, this will help us get to the bottom of all this stuff and, really help you all keep your engines happy.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get started with something that I think a lot of people have heard before. You know that WN in like the viscosity grade 10W30?
Oh, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of people think that stands for weight, but is that really true?
That's a really common myth. It actually stands for winter, and it really has to do with the oil's viscosity or thickness at low temperatures.
Winter. Okay, that makes sense. So why is it important to have a viscosity rating that's specifically for the winter?
Well, oil tends to thicken up when it's cold,
Right.
right? And if it gets too thick, it's not going to flow properly through your engine when you start it up, and that can lead to some real problems, wear and tear, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I hadn't even thought about that. How it would affect the engine like during startup when it's cold outside.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically, this W rating is all about making sure the oil stays fluid enough to protect the engine even when it's super cold.
Exactly. The lower the W number, the better the oil flows at those low temps. That's why sometimes you'll see something like 0W20 recommended for those really cold climates.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm already learning new things here. Let's move on to another big myth, that you got to change your oil every 3,000 miles, no matter what kind of oil you're using.
Uh-huh.
Like, this rule is super ingrained in car maintenance.
No, yeah, for sure.
But is it really true? Especially when we're talking about synthetic oil.
Yeah, that advice has been around forever. But engines and oil have changed so much over the years.
Right.
So are those 3,000-mile stickers we see everywhere, like, outdated? I mean, sometimes, yeah, because synthetic oils, they're designed to resist breaking down and oxidizing, so they last way longer than conventional oils.
Oh, okay.
Lots of manufacturers recommend changing your oil every 7,500 miles or even longer if you're using synthetic.
Interesting. See, my car actually has one of those oil life monitoring systems that tells me when I need to change the oil,
Oh, yeah.
and it takes into account like my driving habits and everything. Do you think those are pretty reliable?
Those are great. They use all sorts of data from your car to figure out the best time to change the oil. It takes the guesswork out of it.
That's amazing how technology's come so far.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a myth that I think worries a lot of people. The idea that synthetic oil will cause leaks in your engine.
Hmm.
Is there any truth to that?
A lot of people think that, but really it's not true. Synthetic oils don't cause leaks, but they might show you leaks that were already there.
Really? That seems kind of counterintuitive. How does that work?
Okay, so imagine you've got a small crack in a container.
Okay.
If you put a thick liquid in it, the leak might be really slow, barely noticeable.
Gotcha. But then if you pour something thinner in there, it's going to come out of that crack way faster.
So the synthetic oil, because it has those smaller molecules, it can get through those tiny gaps that conventional oil couldn't.
Exactly.
So it's like it's revealing leaks that were already there, but we just didn't know about them.
Exactly. It's not causing the leak. It's just highlighting a problem that's already there.
That's such a good way to think about it. So instead of being scared of synthetic oil, we should be using it to help us find those leaks.
Exactly. It's way better to catch a small leak early on than to ignore it and then have it turn into a big, expensive mess later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about another myth. This one's about switching between types of oil.
Oh.
Some people think that once you start using synthetic oil, you can never go back to conventional oil.
Mm.
Is that something to be worried about? Like, does it hurt your engine to switch back and forth?
No, not at all. There's really no reason why you can't switch back and forth. Your engine will be totally fine. Okay, good to know. So what about those synthetic blend oils? Are those a good kind of middle ground?
Yeah, those are a good option if you want some of the benefits of synthetic oil, like
Yeah.
better protection and longer life, but they're usually a bit cheaper.
Why?
They're also a good choice if you're thinking about making the switch from conventional to full synthetic.
Oh, okay. I see. So we've talked about a lot of the benefits of synthetic oil, but is there ever like a downside? Like when would it be bad to use it?
That's a good question. Actually, there are some rare cases where synthetic might not be the best choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if you have an older engine with a lot of miles on it,
Okay.
the seals and gaskets might be used to the thicker conventional oil. So if you switch to synthetic, it could maybe cause some small leaks.
So for like classic cars or older vehicles, it might be better to stick with conventional oil.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least talk to a mechanic who knows about older engines before you switch.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Better to be safe than sorry. All right, well, this has been a super interesting deep dive into synthetic oil.
Yeah,
We've busted some myths, learned some cool stuff, and hopefully our listeners feel more confident about taking care of their cars.
for sure. Knowledge is power when it comes to car maintenance.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a question to think about.
Okay.
We've talked about using the right oil viscosity and all the benefits of synthetic knot,
Huh.
but what about driving habits?
Hmm.
Do you think those play a role in choosing the best oil and deciding when to change it?
That's a great point. Driving habits make a huge difference. Think about it, someone who does a lot of short trips in stop-and-go traffic.
Right.
That's totally different from someone who drives long distances on the highway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you've got people who tow heavy stuff or drive in extreme weather.
Exactly. All of that affects what kind of oil you need and how often you should change it.
So there's no one-size-fits-all answer,
Nope. It's all about knowing how you drive and the conditions you usually drive in.
and checking your owner's manual.
Yeah, always a good idea.
Well, this deep dive has definitely shown us how much there is to know about engine oil. It's not as simple as it seems,
Well,
but knowing the facts can help us keep our cars running smoothly.
absolutely.
So big thanks to you for being here and sharing your expertise.
Happy to help.
And to our listeners, don't be afraid to ask questions and always check your owner's manual for the best advice for your specific car.
Great advice.
Until next time, happy driving.